Hello and good evening. Welcome to RWB International. Tonight we are in the Formula Tatuus, I think, and the circuit is Assen motorcycle course. Not sure if we're actually going to have a proper commentator tonight. Hopefully somebody else shows up because I won't be able to do the whole thing this evening. So if you're out there and you want to watch or come and commentate for us, we'd appreciate it. So as you can see, we're just wrapping up qualifying here. There's another 30 seconds or so remaining. Currently, Badowski is in P1, followed by Crew. Mr. Gitt is in third. Nigel Wood is fourth. Rigel is fifth. Audi is sixth. Mad House seventh. Phil Varley is in eighth. Finnersley is P9. And Burek is P10. So we have two races, both 40 minutes each. So it looks like we got about 3 minutes or so warm up. So these are the F4 Tatuus. It looks like Mr. Gitt is getting ready to take to the track for a few minutes of warm up here. Maybe making some last minute adjustments to his setup. We're trying to figure out how much fuel he's going to need. I do believe they will have to make at least one stop for just a splash and dash. I'm not sure how well the tires hold up in these particular cars. I've never really driven around in RaceRoom a whole lot, so I don't have much experience with it or with these cars. All right, so we're getting ready to take to the grid here. Got another 25 seconds remaining. And it doesn't appear anybody else is going to be showing up to help provide comms this evening. So I'll try and do the start, and that's about as far as I'm going to get here. So it looks like they're getting ready to go. Green, green, green. How many cars? We got 18 cars here trying to get into T1. Looks like Podolski's going to hold on to his lead into the first corner. I don't think anybody really changed too many positions there to start. See Prue in second, Mr. Get third. I do believe Rigel may have jumped up a position. As we're riding on board with Gretschel. Not sure if he had some issues on the start there. As you see now, Chargers to his inside here, or to his left. Looks like Gretschel's going to have the inside line coming in the next corner, so hopefully he can hang on to that position. Oh, and I was wrong. That's what happens when you don't know the circuit. All right, folks. Well, if you're watching, sorry about not having comms for tonight. Maybe somebody will show up here for the second half. Have a good evening, and we'll see you later.
Yo, good evening, everyone. We have an intense race going on here. RWB Dave Crew in the lead, about 0.8 of a second up from RWB Rigel in second. Badowski following closely in third, about 0.3 behind Rigel. We are following that fight right now. Phil Varley holding on to fourth, in about 4.5 seconds behind Badowski. Everyone pretty spread out at this point. We are about 13 minutes into this 40-minute race. We have no mandatory pit stops for today's race, so they should be able to go straight through. Fuel set at 1 times usage. Real assists, so they don't get too many additional assists, no extra bonuses from the game. Just as realistic as we can possibly get things. Badowski is still trying to chase down Rigel for second place. But farther back in the field, down in 12th, 13th place, we do have Marco currently chasing down Charger about 0.3 behind, going through this corner sequence. I'm not familiar with the track, so I will not be able to give you numbers. I apologize. Now running a little bit wide there, but still managing to stay on Charger's tail. Looks like something might have happened to Dave Crew up in the lead, as Rigel has now caught up as well, so we have a three-way battle for first, second, and third. All drivers using that slipstream in these F4 cars take advantage of the draft. Not much else going on down the order. Everyone about second and a half, 2 seconds away from each other. Marco still chasing Charger in the background, but our main fight right now is for this lead. No one making move into that corner, trying to get a good exit here. As they continue around, staying in line, no outrageous moves. Just biding their time, as there is now about probably about 24 minutes left, a little under 25 really. Let's go on board with Rigel in second place. Badowski close behind. We're looking forward onto RWB Dave Crew. Farther behind, it looks like something might have happened to Breck, perhaps a penalty, as RWB Audi managed to make his way past quickly. Liam behind, quickly closing the gap as well. It's not sure what has happened there, but definitely losing time. And that's a big bump over the curb, as Liam looking like he's going to pass on this front straight going into turn one. Going up the inside and getting that pass done. Rigel, Badowski, Dave Crew in 1, 2, 3, still maintaining that fight. Oh, and that is a car off track. Looks like got the rear spun around. Let's see who that was. And that was Liam in the, doesn't tell me car numbers, but he did go around. So unfortunately, right after making that pass up into 8th place, finding himself in the runoff. Rigel, Badowski still pursuing. No one really making time. They're all staying within half a second of each other. Not making any progress. Dirk Gretchel back in 9th place. Starting to close the gap onto Breck. Just a little bit. Looks like might be gaining some times in certain sectors. About half a second away now. Just working on closing that down and trying to make a move. Everyone keeping it pretty clean so far. You know, we've seen a couple of cars go around, getting a little loose. Everyone adjusting back to these open-wheel cars. After RWB, you know, focusing on the GT events. And is this Badowski trying to go around on the outside? Looks like we might have a little drag race here going onto this straightaway. Oh, going down the straight. Trying to draft each other, get around. Any moves through here? No, but that does put Rigel and up into 1st place. Going around RWB Dave Crew there. Dave trying to contest that position, continuing around. Badowski hot on his rear wing. Taking a look up the inside, and there's contact there. Getting loose. Doesn't look like his punctured tire or any damage to the wing, but definitely losing time there as Badowski now tries to go around the outside, take advantage of that little slowdown, losing a lot of time on the exit. And Badowski does manage to make his way past as well. Dave Crew falling back into line will now be trying to retake those positions. We now see Badowski looking forward onto our leader RWB Rigel, as we have 20 and a half minutes remaining on this 40-minute race, so just about this halfway point. Everyone else is still keeping it clean. We have Liam, who has managed to work his way back up to 10th after getting a little loose and finding himself turned around in the runoff just a couple minutes ago. Chasing down Dirk Gretschel in 9th, Matt Al up in 8th, RWB Audi 7th, Rick Binnersley in 6th. Then continuing up the order, Nigel Wood, Phil Varley, then our top 3, Dave Crew, Marco Badowski, and RWB Rigel. Back in 14th in the fight for 13th, it looks like someone might have gone around, unless this is just a timing glitch, because there is quite a... Oh, and we have Giorgio in the pits. Not sure for what, possibly for some damage was occurred. I did not see any incidents, but definitely in the pits. Badowski still chasing down Rigel for the lead, keeping it to close. He's coming in for the pits. Looks like we are beginning pit cycles. I would assume for fuel. I'm not sure how much fuel capacity these F4 cars have. So while there's no mandatory pit stops, of course that does not exclude needing to pit for fuel just due to usage. Hopping back into 10th, we have Liam Nams still trying to chase down Dirk Gretschel. Looks like our leaders have started their own pit cycles. And that was Marco Badowski diving into the pits. RWB Rigel still up front, still being chased by Dave Crew, as we see this fight for 9th still going on. Let's see, who is this rejoining the track? Is this Badowski? That is Badowski. So Badowski rejoins just behind Liam Dams and Dirk Gretschel. So we now have this 3-way fight at the bottom end of the top 10. This Badowski taking a look on the outside, that little corner, which put him on the inside. Going into that, not able to make it happen, losing just a little bit too much momentum. But perhaps going for an over-under. Looking, but not able to make anything stick. However, he does have a good exit here. On the outside, going in this next corner. Still looking. Still looking, but not... Oh, and that is Liam's running wide yet again, which will put Badowski comfortably by him. Losing time, he's not in danger of losing another position. Charger 7.5 seconds behind. But he's got to be careful of these track limits here. You know, that's quite a few track limits. And I know the stewards are being generous currently with slowdown penalties for track limits. RWB Rigel, RWB Dave Crew still up in 1st and 2nd. Behind them in 3rd place now we have Phil Varley, Nigel Wood in 4th place. Now, Nigel has managed to close the gap to 0.6 of a second behind Phil Varley for 3rd place, so for the last podium spot. As we switch over to their fight, this is occurring about 4.5 seconds behind our leaders, so you might be able to see them in the foreground on certain shots. Let's take a look from the back of Phil Varley's car as we see Nigel Wood, again, just 0.6 of a second behind. Now they are starting to close the gap for his leaders though, just a little bit, now just under 4.5. And it looks like that's Nigel Woods hopping into the pits, potentially? No, that was just the camera angle. Looked like he might have been going into the pits for his fuel stop. That gap opening up now. Rick Binnersley up into 4th, so it looks like it was Phil. Phil Varley has gone into the pits for his fuel stops. Rick Binnersley up into 4th place. Dave Crew and Rigel still opting to stay out in that 1-2 position. As far as I know, they have not taken their pit stop for fuel. Everyone's holding position. We are still cycling through fuel cycles. 15 minutes remaining in this race. Down at the back of the pack in 17th, we do have Mr. Git about 3/4 of a second behind Rich Jones. Coming off of the front straight, we have pit exit there. No traffic to contend with yet. And he is closing that gap now down to 0.3 through this corner. Taking a look around the outside, maybe just overdriving in that corner just a little bit. Not able to do anything there, but definitely starting to put the pressure on Rich Jones to come down the straight. Git, of course, with the draft in the back. Is it gonna make a move here? Content to stay in line for the time being. Just continue to close the gap now down to 0.2 of a second. We will keep a close eye on this, but meanwhile, up in 8th place, we've RWB Audi making a move on the inside of Charger. Wisely backing out there as Charger closes the door. Defending the inside very closely. Charger up in front in 7th place. RWB Audi, who we are following, in 8th place. Audi trying to make his way past. Getting as close as possible down the straight. Try to get a run into the next corner. And Mr. Git has passed Richard Jones in 16th and 17th place. Audi looking for an opportunity here. About 10 seconds behind these guys, we do have Dirk Gretschel starting to close in on Mad Al as well. This would be the battle for 9th place. Up front, as the pit cycles have gone, we have RWB Rigel up in front. Dave Crew, what has happened? Nigel is in the pits. Looks like he might have returned to garage. That was his fuel stop. So Nigel, we'll see where he cycles back in. Let's hop over to RWB Charger, who is still under attack by RWB Audi. Let's see. So this is coming on the front straight. So it looks like Nigel should be able to get out in front of them pretty comfortably. We'll see exactly where he falls, though. Charger still defending 7th place. And yes, Nigel has managed to make it out of the pit road in front of them. Charger still feeling the pressure from RWB Audi. 11 minutes left in this race. Dirk Gretschel still applying pressure onto Mad Al for 9th position. Still looking for way past, now 0.3 behind. Behind them, we have Liam Dams having a rough day today. You know, managing to fight his way back, then overdriving, spinning the rear of that car around, just getting that oversteer. He almost did it again there. You saw him get loose and have to back off. So losing some time there, but still consistently applying pressure on the back of Burek for 11th place. Now riding on board with Dirk Gretschel. Now about a quarter of a second behind Mad Al, chasing him through these corners. We will hop back to Liam Dams, who has managed to close the gap to Burek and is now actively looking to get this pass done for 11th place. Only 18 cars competing today. Headed down the front straight. Will we see anything into turn 1? Still trying to close that gap just a little bit, maybe wanting a peek up the around the outside here. Burek running just a little bit wide. Oh, and he's off track. So Liam going around the outside as Burek tries to rejoin, spinning it around on the rejoin, coming out of that gravel. He will rejoin in 13th as RWB pinpoint and just make his way around as well. Dirk Gretschel still attacking Mad Al. However, they've both caught up to RWB Charger now. So Charger in 8th place, currently defending from both Mad Al in 9th and Gretschel in 10th. Up front, Dave Crew has caught up to RWB Rigel on these pit stops, as all of the leaders and anyone remaining has come in for fuel. We saw a large group of cars there coming in for fuel. As Dave rejoins in second, about 2 seconds behind Rigel. It looks like that might be RWB Charger to the pits for the same reason, probably topping off on fuel, because this is both Dirk and Mad Al comfortably by. Gretschel in 8th place, Mad Al right behind in 9th. Mad Al taking a peek around, trying to make something work on the outside, not able to make anything happen on that straight. And that is Dirk Gretschel around in the wall, hard impact, the heavy spin, just losing that car around that fast left-hander. Managing to get it going again, but there's going to be heavy damage on that car. He's going to be losing a lot of time there. In 5th place, we see Nigel Wood, about a second behind Phil Varley, trying to catch up for the remaining podium position here, because it looks like they passed somebody in the pits. So this is now a battle for 3rd. Just trying to close this gap while Nigel works on catching up. We're going to hop down into 15th place with Mr. Git and RWB Flack in 14th and 15th positions. Mr. Git having caught up to its next group of cars. Flack trying to defend. They can look around the inside, around the outside. Still holding line for this corner. And trying to set himself up for a run into turn 1 along the final straight, or along the front straight, I should say. RWB Flack in turn has got RWB Marco directly in front of them, so this is a 3-way battle now for 13th, 14th, and 15th. Mr. Git taking a look up the inside. He will have the inside line for this first one, but it does cut back the other direction. However, he does manage to get that pass done, so Mr. Git up into 14th place, RWB Flak falling back into 15th. After that great inside-outside. In front of them, we have RWB Pinpoint chasing down someone who just ran wide. Looks like that might have been Dirt Gretchel. You have to wonder if there's any damage from that earlier collision with the wall. As we see Breck making his way around RWB Pinpoint for 11th. Sorry, no, going around Gretchel for 11th place. Farther back in the pack, back to RWB Flak, chasing down Charger now, in about 6/10 of a second behind. In 18th place, looks like we have Rich Jones and Giorgio Minga engaged in a fight for 17th place. All of our leaders, RWB Rigel, Marco Badowski, Nigel Wood, all with comfortable gaps, multiple seconds between them, up in 1, 2, and 3. Rich Jones, 2/10 of a second behind, going into turn 1. Taking a look around the outside. Oh, going around the outside into turn 1, however, running wide. Will he be able to hold this? Managing to hold together the side by side through turn 2. Having to back out, though, headed into turns 3 and 4. We go on board with Rich Jones. Now falling back to 6/10 of a second behind Giorgio. Again, this is a fight for 17th position. Three minutes remaining in the race. Everyone pretty comfortably spread out. We do see a fight for 13th position between Mr. Git and RWB Marco as they go around the final corner onto the front straight. Rich Jones is still working on catching for 17th position. Mr. Git opting not to make a move into turn 1. Doesn't want to dive bomb, not yet. Should be time for, depending on where they run, about 2 laps. Getting a little bit loose there, keeping control of it. But then Marco immediately goes wide as well. Try to be careful not to run into each other. Both cars making a major mistake on that corner sequence. However, it looks like they've largely offset each other. Marco still maintaining 13th position, Mr. Git close behind. However, that has allowed an opportunity for RWB Charger and RWB Flak to catch up directly behind them in 15th and 16th. As you see, Charger in the orange F4 directly behind, followed by Flak. So with under 2 minutes remaining, will Charger and Flak be able to catch up? As we now have Mirek potentially entering the picture here, in that as we have this traffic, looks like something might have happened, definitely off the pace. Who's that? That was, looks like that was Dirt Gretchel, who might have suffered another collision, because he, and contact between Mr. Git and I'm not sure who else, but a major crash on the final quarter headed on the front straight. Looks like it might have been Mr. Git and Rich Jones. Unfortunately, that will likely end their race, or nearly as there's less than a minute remaining. RWB Rigel in first, Marco Badowski in second, 2.5 seconds behind Rigel, and Nigel Wood in third place on the final podium spot, about 10 seconds behind Badowski. Currently watching RWB Flak, who's now gotten the gap down to 0.4 of a second behind RWB Charger. This might be final lap for them. I'm not sure where on the track they are. Flak going to be getting desperate here, trying to make something happen around Charger, who has done a great job of holding him off for the past several minutes.
And Charger being notoriously difficult to get around, he knows where to position his car to make it difficult for someone to try and get around him. How you doing, Scheller?
Doing great. Checkered flag has waved. That does conclude the 40-minute race times. Everyone will finish the laps they are on. RWB Rigel up in front. Continue finishing this lap with a comfortable lead. It's about 2.5 seconds over Marco Badowski, followed by Nigel Wood. Again, now about 10 seconds behind Badowski for third place. Flak, will he be able to do anything come across the line? Takes a look, but not able to do it. So that means our finishing order: RWB Rigel in first place, followed by Marco Badowski, Nigel Wood, Phil Varley, RWB Audi, RWB Dave Crew, RWB Rick Binnersley, Mettle, Liam Dams, and RWB Charger round out your top 10.
Hey, Damien, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
I'm now joined by Nate and Damien here in the comms booth.
Yeah, I won't be much use to you.
Definitely a great event to get RWB back into open wheel racing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, unfortunately I was taken away from the computers here, so I wasn't able to see what was going on. They look like fun cars to drive.
Definitely some dramatic moments there. A couple of cars making contact. Gretchel with some heavy damage on the front after hard impact on the wall.
So when this transitions, normally I get kicked out of the server, so we'll have a couple minutes until I can rejoin. Looks like the last of them are just getting finished up here at the moment.
All right, and there's your official race results on the screen. Rigel, again, in first place, by Badowski and Nigel Wood. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back for round 2 of the RWB F4 Tatuus event on the circuit Assen. I apologize if I said that wrong. Here, about a minute and a half left in warm-up. Drivers all getting ready for our second 40-minute race. Once again, all the assists are set for get real 1 times fuel, which means there does have to be a fuel stop, although there is no mandatory pit stop. Mandatory, of course, being relative, because the cars do not have enough fuel in them to reach that 40-minute point without making a stop. Last race, not a whole lot of drama on the pit cycle. We'll see if that holds true for the second one. Starting grid for this race 2 will be determined from the results of the first race. So our top 3 from race 1 were RWB Rigel, Marco Badowski, and Nigel Wood. So Phil Varley beginning in 4th, RWB Audi in 5th, RWB Dave Crew in 6th, Rick Binnersley, Matt Al, Liam Dams, then Charger, Flack, Marco, Burek, and Gretchel. Only 14 drivers remaining currently, or at least have joined the session. About 10 seconds left here in warm-up, and then we will see them all hit the grid. Race 1 going pretty cleanly. Not a whole lot of contact. We had a couple instances of contact between the drivers, but everyone fanning out as we see a car that has spawned inside of another. All right, then. We have a minute here in the garage for the drivers to make last-minute changes. Looking at one of these beautiful F4 open-wheel cars in the pit box. The things to note from the first race: definitely keep it clean. Everyone did a pretty good job at first time. Couple instances of contact, as you'd expect from racing, but doing a good job with that. Oversteer. These cars have a tendency to oversteer. We saw quite a few spinouts from a couple of the drivers. So now lined up on the grid, waiting for the lights to go off. You can see the lights at the top of the screen. And here we go, green flag on the opening lap of race 2 of our F4 Tatuus series. RWB Rigel in the lead, followed by Marco Badowski, Nigel Wood going in turn 1. Keeping it clean so far, no contact. Someone went really wide there into turn 2. Not sure who that was. Still 2x2 going into turn 3 and 4. Now trying to get into a line here, a little bit dangerous spot to be too wide. Rigel in the lead, Badowski in second. The field managing to make it through those first corners safely. No major incidents. Looks like a couple track limits, as you'd expect from the turn 1 chaos. We are on board with RWB Charger, looking at the back of RWB Audi for 5th place. Badowski still trying to keep on the tail of Rigel up in front, about 3/10 of a gap that Rigel has over 2nd place. RWB Flack going a little bit wide there, letting someone by on the inside. Now following RWB Marco, chasing down Liam Dams in 8th place. Everyone fanning out now, just a little bit. We're starting to see the gaps. Ooh, Marco getting a little bit close there, almost setting it a bit too much, but Liam getting loose on the exit. Hop up into 4th place with Nigel Wood as they head down into turn 1. Nigel following closely on the tail of Phil Varley, RWB Audi, trying to make a move around him on the inside, and he will make that move stick in turn 3. Now just defending that inside line going into turn 4. Badowski falling back to 8/10 behind our leader, RWB Rigel. Phil Varley another second behind them. With Audi and Nigel Wood, who's dropped back to 5th, started in 3rd, losing a couple positions here in the opening 2 laps. A little bit of action that you can see going on in the background. A couple people fighting for positions as Nigel Wood goes around the outside of RWB Audi. Not able to make it a double move onto Phil Varley, but Audi coming back along the inside. Nigel having to get off the gas just a little bit to avoid contact, losing just that bit of momentum, but still maintaining that side by side along the straight. Pushing Audi just a little bit wide there, out, but giving him room. Going in the next corner, Audi fighting back. As we now have a 3 wide going down the front straight. This is Nigel Wood, RWB Audi, RWB Dave Crew, and RWB Charger. Oh, contact going into turn 1 as we have Liam Dams, who has managed to make it safely up the inside, passing all 4. All 4 drivers managing to keep it together, but definite contact forcing all of them wide and compromising the lines. As we had 3 wide briefly going turn 4, bit of contact, so we had Ascend both over and under one of the cars in the background. Everyone taking this race a lot more aggressively. We did not see this from the first race at all. Badowski still second behind our leader. Looks like our main pack has sorted itself out some, so we're going to hop to the back where the action currently is. RWB Rick Binnersley in 11th place. Closely on tail of RWB Marco and RWB Dave Crew in 10th and 9th places respectively. All fighting for position here in the back. A little bit of contact from Marco on the Dave Crew. Now on board with Rick Binnersley. Taking a look around RWB Marco perhaps. Oh, a little bit of contact there, getting him in the rear of Marco, getting both cars loose, losing some time. However, he will have a run down the front straight, getting a little bit better exit of that final chicane. And Rick Binnersley will get the move done going into turn 1, just breaking that a little bit later and getting it done on the inside. Popping up in the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th between Charger, Wood, and Mr. Git. Charger up front in that orange F4 Tatuus. Nigel looking for a way around, perhaps. Trying to get something done, not quite close enough yet. Wants to have that little bit more momentum. Mr. Git taking a peek as well. Not able to make anything happen. Mr. Git looking for a way around, not seeing anything. However, he is still pressuring Nigel in that dark green and black car directly in front of him. We're now on the front wing of Mr. Git, looking ahead at Nigel Wood and Charger in 5th and 6th place. Oh, Mr. Git making a move around the outside of Nigel. Not able to make it stick though. Just putting the pressure around the outside. Charger now having a car on the inside going down the front straight. Nigel having the inside line coming up for turn 1, this right-hander. Again, not able to make a stick. Charger just pushing that a little bit harder around the outside and taking that a little bit more speed. Up front, our Marko Wadowski has caught up to our leader RWB Rigel, closing that gap to 0.3 of a second. Hop back to the main action now as this pack grows to 5 cars. This is for 6th through 10th position, all within about a second of, not even a second of each other. You see that main group. Charger trying to defend. Not able to hold the inside line though, so Nigel will make it past Charger. Dave Crew trying to follow Nigel through. And looks like he will do it through the outside. Charger under attack from this main line. A little bit of contact there, or at least it looked like it. Charger having to run a little bit wide and offline to avoid any significant contact. Nigel escaping just a little bit. Now 0.8 up from this group. You see him on the right side of your screen already, after having just made that pass earlier in the lap. Charger still having to defend from Mr. Git behind in 8th place. RWB Dave Crew now at the head of this group, coming around onto the front straight. We'll go on board and look back at this pack. That looks like RWB Audi trying to make a pass around Mr. Git, headed into turn 1. Not able to make it stick. Definitely starting to look. You see Charger still on the inside. A little bit of a twitch from Mr. Git. Mr. Git still going inside, outside, looking for a way around Charger in the orange car, as we have RWB Audi taking a peek up the inside of that corner, now on the outside line, going on to this a short straight. Wadowski still applying pressure on our leader RWB Rigel in this battle for first place. Not able to make anything happen yet, but definitely applying pressure for the last lap and a half. Third place, Phil Varley, Liam Dams, and Nigel Wood, and RWB Dave Crew in 3rd through 6th. Comfortable gaps between them, about 2.5 seconds each. Wadowski still looking for a way. RWB Charger still holding on to 7th place, but under close attack from Mr. Git. Still not able to find a way past it. We have RWB Audi trying to join this fight, make it too wide between him and Mr. Git. Looking right the outside of Charger, perhaps. Audi not able to hold the outside through that corner. However, this does create some drama on the front straight, as we have Mr. Git following Charger closely, but having to get defensive from Rick Binnersley and Audi directly behind. And that's Rick Binnersley with a run inside of turn 3. And it looks like Mr. Git will just let them both pass, not wanting to lose any more time and risk any damage. I wonder if there was some contact there that I didn't pick up on, because he's definitely off the pace now and falling back from that main group. Audi now attacking Rick Binnersley for 8th place. So we follow them through. We still see Mr. Git, RWB Marco, and the blue car in the background. Oh, RWB Charger. Wonder if it got a little bit loose, getting past around the outside of that corner. And definitely losing some time there. So we have both RWB Audi and Rick Binnersley have managed to make their way past. Audi slotting his way in front of Charger. Not able to hold on that position, but a great pass there. We will keep an eye on this, but let's hop to our battle for the lead. Marko Wadowski still putting pressure on RWB Rigel. 2.5 laps of pressure. So looking inside, outside, going around turn 4 and 3. Let's hop on board with our leader, RWB Rigel, and look back at Badowski. Get down that back straight. We see third place just around that corner. That is Phil Varley, 2.5 seconds behind our two leaders here. Badowski just trying to find that extra grip, just trying to find a line around Rigel. And Rigel doing a great job defending, keeping his calm. You know, the non-stop pressure has not gotten to him yet. We still have 27 minutes remaining in this race. Let's not forget, we do have pit cycles at some point. We saw our leader hit as late as 8 minutes remaining in the race from race 1. But we'll see if that happens again here. Hopping back down the order into 8th, we have RWB Charger making run up the inside of Rick Binnersley. Binnersley having to go, being pushed that little bit wide, avoid contact. As we see Charger side by side with, I believe that is RWB Audi in the white car. Binnersley following Audi through on the inside, so Charger giving up the inside line, losing 2 positions because of it. He'll be working for this comeback though. Rick Binnersley, that first white car with the white and red, RWB Audi and white and green. Charger on the outside line for that straight. However, he will have the inside for this next corner. Necessarily trying to stay with him, but deciding that the best chance is to slide in behind and just wait for the next opportunity. 25 minutes remaining, so plenty of time there. Badowski still in second place, not able to make any pass on Rigel for the lead. Saying that, it looks like he can run around the outside for turn 1. However, this does mean Rigel has the inside line. And Rigel trying to hold on with that inside, trying to get enough speed into turn 4 to hold that line. Badowski getting that inside line in turn 4. Rigel running wide. Badowski will have the better run off of that corner. Rigel looking for a comeback though. Being on the outside, able to get on the throttle a little bit sooner. Going onto that back straight, retaking the lead. Badowski allowing that move to happen cleanly. Both excellent drivers here. Back of the pack has sorted itself out. Badowski looking for the outside, deciding to back out, not force anything to happen. We do have Phil Varley closing in third place, now down to 7/10 of a second behind Badowski. So this might become a 3-way fight here if these leaders aren't careful. They've started to let the rest of the pack catch up to them slightly. Phil Varley in that red F4 directly behind them. Badowski coming down the front straight once again, looking on the outside. Rigel defending the inside. So we see Badowski once again getting ahead, going into turn 3. Will he be able to slot up in front of Rigel to defend turn 4?
Yeah, it looks like a couple of our drivers weren't able to join for the second race due to some technical difficulties with RaceRoom. So I'm guessing they got kicked out and not able to get reconnected, what it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. Looks like from the first race we have Dirt Gretchel, who finished finishing towards the back after an unfortunate spin, but having a great race up to that point. We have Martin Potter, but was just unable to reconnect. Same with Jurek, who was having a good race as well. Very unfortunate they could not join us for the second due to those technical difficulties with RaceRoom. We definitely hope they'll be able to rejoin us in the future. Badowski has managed to secure first place from RWB Rigel, managing to make that pass on this lap and make it stick. Phil Varley, though, has managed to close the gap to a quarter of a second behind Rigel. So this is now a three-way battle for first, second, and third. 5 seconds behind them, we have Nigel Wood and Liam Dams that were just in a fight. Looks like Liam might have just dove to the pits for his fuel stop, opting to not stay in traffic. So we will hop back up to the leaders. Everyone else sorting themselves out, a couple second gap.
Looks like Charger's no longer in the race unless I'm overlooking him. But I don't see his car in the scoring.
Yeah, looks like Charger has not rejoined either, so we wonder if there were some connection difficulties in between the two races. Because we have 7 drivers that were present in the first race that are not able to make it.
So it looks like now that Badowski and Ryder are no longer racing each other, they're starting to just open up a little bit of a gap on Varley.
Yep, yeah, Phil dropping back just a little bit, now 9/10 of a second headed in this corner. Rigel also opting to fall back just a little bit. Maybe you have to wonder if he used up some of his tires with that defense. I mean, he was under heavy attack from Badowski for a good 4 or 5 laps. Rich Jones, I'm not sure where he is. He does not show up on our scoring, but still getting penalties for track limits. Definitely got to watch those track limits here. The stewards have been quite harsh for that today. We're continuing to follow Rigel. Again, the gap between Badowski, Rigel, and Varley now growing to about a second each. All 3 drivers opting not push as hard and battle each other for the time being. 20 minutes left in race 2, so we're now at the halfway point. In 4th through 10th, we have Nigel Wood, RWB Dave Crew, RWB Audi, RWB Marco, and Liam Dams, Rick Bendersley, Flack, and Mr. Git down in 11th. Now on board with the Rigel. Looking forward on the leader, and it looks like they're potentially going to have some traffic heads, so we'll have to see how that plays into things. I'm not sure who that car is, and that is somebody around that not sure who that was. Was that Liam Dams, perhaps? That was not, I do not know who that was, but that was definitely a car turned around in the runoff. Our leaders made it safely past. Should be just about time for fuel cycles. Around this time last race, we saw some of the cars start to come in. I suspect we'll see everyone push a little bit later. Last race, people who were in traffic typically opted to come in between this 15 and 20 minute remaining mark, whereas those who weren't came in closer to that 10. No one really engaged in close fights currently. Our top 4, about 7 seconds of each other total. And a big gap back between 5th and 6th. Is that Liam? Somebody just came in the pits. I'll hopefully be able to see who that was. Looks like this might be RWB Audi to the pits. Here we see him on pit exits. We will see where he rejoins as we start the pit cycles for fuel. RB Audi rejoining comfortably in 7th. RB Marco also making his pit stop currently. So we have Rick Bennersley off the track. That is not a pit stop. That is him wide in turn 2, I believe that is. Getting a little bit looser, and around he goes. Just hitting that curbing wrong, sending him around. Definitely some dirty tires after turn 2 and his initial spin. Just that unfortunate thing where you get turned around once, tires get overheated, get them a little dirty, and you don't have as much grip as you think you do anymore. Now on board with Phil Varley in 3rd place, looking forward on RWB Rigel in 2nd place. See Badowski far out in front, the 2-second gap over Rigel. Phil Varley catching up on the back of Rigel, so did not see what happened. You have to wonder if there's a little slip by Rigel for that gap to close so quickly. Maybe getting a little bit loose on exit. Varley just biding his time, waiting for that opportunity, just pressuring Rigel currently. They're waiting for that mistake, that opportunity to pass. Once again, on board from the driver's eye camera that we conveniently have on all of these cars. Definitely one of the newer features, and that is RWB Rigel hopping into the pits, choosing to not defend the spot right away. Phil will have to come in at some point, so he needs to make this lap count. Take advantage of that little gap that he now has, this clean air without anyone around. So try to make up that 0.3 of a second or so that he was trailing and try to overtake on pit cycles. RWB Audi perhaps closing in on Liam Dams, now about 0.75 of a second behind. Liam Dams in that blue F4 Tatuus, directly ahead. Headed into turn 1. Both cars taking it wide. Not too wide though. Both cars staying within those track limits. RWB Audi continuing to close the gap. Now down to half a second between the two. For P6. Audi with a great run on this back straight. We'll have to see if he's able to make anything happen here going into the next corner. Taking a look around the outside. He does manage to make the pass on the outside, which of course sets him up on the inside line going into the next corner. So Audi making a great pass on Liam Dams there. Will Liam be able to counterattack now? 14 minutes remaining in this race. Badowski out in front, Phil Varley 4.5 seconds behind in second, Nigel Wood in third. However, I do not believe either Badowski or Varley have pitted yet, whereas Nigel, I believe, has completed his pit stop. Rigel, who was our pole sitter for this race, is now down to 5th after taking his pit stop. Liam trying to defend, or trying to mount a counterattack against Audi, going down this front straight into turn 1. Audi defending the inside line. Liam trying to carry that extra speed along the outside. coming now out of turn 4. Audi getting a great run out of that. Liam just not able to get that power on quite as quickly. You can see that gap open up quite dramatically along this back straight. Gap now 0.6 of a second. Now looking back at Liam from RWB Audi's car, can really visualize that gap from car lengths with that angle. Audi holding on to that place now with about 3/4 of a second gap, so managing to open the gap up just a little bit more. Looking just a bit more consistent all the way around, but especially in sector 2, getting most of that gap in that middle sector. Now looking at Badowski up in front with a 4-second lead over Phil Varley. Pretty eventful first couple laps, fighting Rigel for the lead. Oh, as we see Badowski dive into the pits for his fuel stop with 11 minutes left in the race. We'll have to see if we see Phil come in behind, and it looks like we will, as we see our leaders come in for fuel stops. This is Badowski in the pits, Phil into the pits, Nigel Wood into the pits. RWB Dave Crew, it looks like staying out. Yes, opting to stay out for now. As we will see where our timings is sorted out here. This is RWB Rigel. The former second place will have to see if he's made up enough time to retake Badowski on the pit stops. And this is pit exit coming around. And it looks like Badowski has managed to hold on to second place for now. RWB Dave Crew, currently your leader, still needs to come in for his stops, so Badowski will eventually cycle back up to front. He currently has a 2.5-second lead over Rigel, so Rigel not only not making up that time on the pit stops, but actually losing a bit over 2 seconds over those couple laps. So definitely struggling at this point in the race, as there's 10 minutes left. Probably used up a lot of his tires trying to defend that position, and now just unable to maintain the pace. Now on board with Liam Dams in 7th place. We see that Audi has opened the gap quite a bit now. Now up to 2.25 seconds over Liam. Phil Varley, 4th place. We haven't heard too much about him. He's kind of been lurking for both race 1 and race 2. Currently in 4th place, but again, once Dave Crew comes in for his pit stop, this will cycle up into the 3rd place podium. And there we go, as we do see Dave Crew come in for his mandatory, or for not mandatory fuel stop, but his necessary fuel stop. Badowski does in fact cycle back up to the lead. Followed by RWB Rigel, Phil Varley, Nigel Wood. Looks like Dave Crew will rejoin in 5th position. So our pit cycles are now done. As far as I know, everyone has come in for their fuel stop. So Badowski with a 2.75 second gap over second place RWB Rigel, who himself has a 2-second gap over Phil Varley, and 3-second gap back to Nigel Wood. However, Dave Crew is only 2nd behind Nigel Wood, so he'll be looking for that 4th place pretty soon. We'll see if he can close that gap some over the next lap or two. 8 minutes remaining, so definitely having to keep an eye on the timer. Each lap being a bit over a minute and a half here, so probably 5 or 6 laps remaining. So running out of time to do anything, but we'll see if he has the pace to catch up. RWB Audi 9 seconds behind Dave. Liam still a second and a half behind Audi. We'll flip back to RWB Marco. RWB Marco sitting in 10th position, right on the edge of that top 10. About 2.5 seconds behind RWB Flack in 9th place currently. Haven't heard too much from these drivers. Oh, as we see RWB Flack, looks like he went wide, got in that gravel trap. So Marco managing to make a pass up into 9th after a mistake from Flack. We'll see if Flack can now close that gap again. Meanwhile, up in 5th position, Dave Crew has managed to get that gap down to 3/4 of a second. Now managing to briefly close the gap even further. 6.5 minutes remaining, so plenty of time to make something happen. RWB Flack definitely closing the gap on RWB Marco yet again, managing to do it very quickly, not even half a lap. Now down to about half a second. Let's go on board with RWB Flack in our cockpit camera. So you see him chasing down Marco half a second in front. Flack managed to close the gap just a little bit through the final sector. Looking a bit better through the first and third sectors, but just not having the pace through the middle to be able to get a move done. However, still maintaining the pressure. Marco running wide there, having to run wide into the runoff. He will managing to save the car, avoid it, go around, and it looks like that was Flack himself with a little bit of a wobble. Both drivers saving their cars very expertly, but losing significant amounts of time doing so. Flack now dropping back to a second and a half, so going from directly in front of Marco to now a second and a half behind. Running out of time now with 4.5 minutes to be able to catch back up yet again and then make a pass happen. Białowski now 3.5 seconds in front of Rigel in second place. So not much going on up front in the lead. Phil Varley still in third, followed by Nigel Wood and Dave Crew. Looks like we do have confirmation that RWB Charger was unfortunately disconnected. This time not in between sessions though. It looks like some connection issues during the race. After a bit of a, looks like it might have been some packet loss that unfortunately disconnected him from the race. The driver's unable to reconnect today due to RaceRoom's multiplayer settings. It's definitely unfortunate that not all of the drivers from the first race were able to rejoin or stay joined to the second race. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of them, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of them in the future. Let's hop up to our leader, Marco Badowski. Pushing a 4-second lead now. Rigel definitely dropping off the pace considerably. Perhaps just looking to hold a second place at this point. 3 minutes remaining. Keep it clean, don't overdrive the car, and just bring home that second place podium finish. Everyone with pretty comfortable gaps at this point. Our closest cars being Phil Varley and Nigel Wood with a about 1.5 second gap as we see them here now. This would be for third if Nigel can catch up to Phil. Again, 1.5 seconds, but only minute 50 remaining in the session. Seeing where they're on the track, looks like it'll be one more lap after this before the checkered flag. So 2 laps remaining in this exciting second race. So we see all the drivers coast around, or well, certainly not coast, but drive around for what should be our final lap here of today's races. We'll definitely flip over to Giorgio Minga. Haven't mentioned his name the entire second race. Definitely not having a great night. We definitely want to give him a mention. You know, definitely thanks to all of our drivers for showing up today. And we love seeing everyone come out and race. Definitely a bummer that, you know, we had so many disconnects. Not sure if there's anything we could do to work on that, but we will certainly investigate. Hopping back to our leader as we have 25 seconds left in this race. This race to Marco Wadowski in the lead, followed by RWB Rigel, Phil Varley, Nigel Wood, Dave Crew. Top 5 staying pretty consistent for the last 20-25 minutes. No drama with the pit cycle even. Rigel pitting from second and eventually emerging second as the cycle ended. And checkered flag has waved, so the drivers will now complete this lap. And that will be it. No one close enough for any passing opportunities, short of a spin for any drivers, so everyone just looking to keep it clean and finish the race. Wadowski making his way to the final corner onto the start-finish straight for the final time today. Wadowski officially coming across the line in first place. There'll be Rigel in second, Phil Varley in third, followed closely by Nigel Wood. Nigel Wood managing to get that gap down to half a second, or to half a second to a second on that final lap. Just not able to do anything. Dave Crew in fourth, RWB Audi. Sorry, Nigel Wood in fourth, and RWB Dave Crew in fifth, RWB Audi in sixth, Liam Dams in seventh, Mr. Git in eighth, RWB Marco in ninth, RWB Flack in 10th, and Giorgio in 11th. Oh, come on, keep it together. It's the last lap. Definitely don't want to get in the wall here with not even half a lap to go. Definitely all the drivers putting in a great performance today. Everyone keeping it clean through both race 1 and 2. Some unfortunate connection issues both in between the race and in race 2. And there you have it on your screen, the official results. Badowski finishing not just P1, but also finishing with the best lap of the race. Rigel with the second best lap of the race, but a good half a second behind Badowski. So Badowski having a great drive in the second race, putting the pressure on Rigel through the first couple laps and eventually getting the move done and then driving away with it from there. So once again, thank you to all the drivers for participating today. We look forward to having more. Sounds like we'll be having some more open wheel races as we get back into RaceRoom events after our focus on GT3 recently. Or not just GT3, but GT in general. Thank you all for joining. Obviously, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to join our Discord if you aren't already. We're all here. We all love questions, comments. And have a great evening.